Okay, so we are now live on Facebook. Thanks for joining us, everyone. And welcome to the team, Denzel. How
How
are you?
you doing?
Hi,
Good.
Denzel.
Glad you're here. And where are you from?
I'm from Maryland. I live in Maryland, DC, Maryland, Virginia area. I do architecture, interiors, some other design work. Yep.
Good, good, good. Awesome. Well, today we have our guest speaker, Loni Markman. She's going to lead us through just having vision for the future, making a vision board, also called a dream board. And I was introduced to this concept many years ago. My name's Sharon Denzel, and it really does work. And what you put into pictures goes to your subconscious. Your subconscious drives a lot of our behaviors. So it's really neat to take the time even if you think it's not going to come true. It's amazing to look
No,
back.
I do this all the time.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
you.
do this a lot. I gotta show you my sketch. I'm driving right now, but my sketchbook is literally just an outpouring of things that I want to happen. And yeah, I definitely need to do a vision board to
Yeah,
just focus a vision board on what I
that's awesome. So you look back on them and you're like, oh my gosh, I did get this.
Uh-huh.
I did, and it's really rewarding. So I'm excited for Lonnie. Lonnie, this morning, I was like, oh my gosh, I haven't, printed or clipped anything, but I can, if you want, share how I kind of put mine together this morning. It was fun. It's great.
Sure. Yeah. Awesome.
So whenever you get to that. So I'm going to mute
Sure.
and spotlight you, and you have
Okay.
co-hosts and so forth.
Okay, cool. Hi, guys. Okay, so I'm really excited about today. This is like one of my most favorite things to do every year. And I do it for myself. I do one for with my son. And then I have started to do them quarterly as well. So a little bit more focused quarterly vision boards as well, right? So big overall macro view and then smaller ones throughout the year. So I'm gonna share a little PowerPoint real quick to just go over some things about how to create a vision board, why we're creating a vision board, and then we'll turn back to everybody and we'll create together. So don't worry about it if you haven't done it yet. We could do it on the call together, or you can just get the information and do it later as well. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen. Okay. So for some reason, my iPad makes it a little wonky, so I apologize about that. But basically, I love to call it vision board magic because there's something really magical that happens when you create a vision board. And as Sharon was saying, that it's almost like your subconscious is doing the work for you. So every intention sets energy into motion, whether you are conscious of it or not, right? So when we create these vision boards and we create this intention and we put it out to the universe, our subconscious is creating or manifesting, I should say, those things that we're putting out there on our vision board. So that's what we want to do for this year. So I like to say a vision board is part magic, part law of attraction, part intentions, part goal setting. It's a tool basically to build your confidence and to motivate you to see what's on the board, to see what's in front of you, to see what your vision is for that year. So you're always moving forward in that direction. And as I said before, putting it on paper or in a book or however works for you, that is putting it out to the universe to manifest it. So as we create today, I want you to think about what your intentions are for 2021. And the thing that I love about the vision board is that sometimes you get there and you're like, oh my God, I don't really know what my vision is. And you get in your head and you get a little nervous about that piece of it, but that's okay. Also, you come and you pick things that speak to you. They speak to your heart. They make you feel something when you see that picture or that image. You want to put that on your vision board yet too, because that's the beauty of a vision board. And where that magic comes in is that you may not know exactly why that's on your vision board, but later on you look back and it's 6 months from now, 8 months from now, and you know exactly why that was on your vision board. Okay, so speaking of intentions, one of the kind of homework assignments that I recommended was to come up with your word for 2021. Now, I know that that's a big thing these days. A lot of people come up with their words. I got the idea many years ago from Rachel Hollis, and I came up with a couple words this year, but my word for Juice Plus specifically was, it's not really one word, but we're going to pretend it is, intentional action. So, you know, that is how I want to look at my 2021 in Juice Plus. I want to create intentional action. Everything that I do, I'm doing with intention, I'm doing on purpose, and I'm doing to serve, right? So those are sort of my Juice Plus words. And so hopefully some of you have created yours already, but I want to give you some word ideas just in case you haven't. I'm not going to go through all of these. You guys can look at them later. But when you think about a word, I want it to almost feel a little scary for you. Like, okay, that feels doable, yet, you know, you're going to have to work for it. You're going to have to make sure that this is something that's really happening. So fearless, organized, I'm just going to read some of that out loud. Graceful, disciplined, strong, focused, empowered, self-care, mindful. So these are just some examples of some words. So we're going to take a minute, and hopefully you have a pen and paper, and we could jot down some ideas of how to come up with your word. And if you already have a word, just curious if you want to use that same word, that's fine. If you want to create a specific Juice Plus word, that's up to you. So give yourself a second and answer some of these questions. A year from now, what will you be most excited about to accomplish? And we're going to write it down. We're going to actually write. What do you want to feel in 2021? I love this question, right? Because I think a lot of it's so easy to check the list off from our head, from our goals, but how do we want to feel? Putting your hand on your heart, think about that question for a second. How do you want to feel? Do you want to feel peaceful? Do you want to feel empowered? Do you want to feel strong? I mean, I could share for you, one of the things that I really want to feel in 2021 is I want to feel proud. I want to feel accomplished. So for me, that is something, and again, I'm speaking business related right now, not necessarily in all areas of my life, but with my business, I want to feel proud of the things, the intentional actions I created. So how do you want to feel?
I love that, Loni. How do you want to feel? I think that's really good. I didn't think of that.
Yeah. Good, thank you. And then what are you being called to do? And I'm going to talk about this in a second, but I just want you to not play any of this safe right now. This is your time to dream. So what are you being called to do? Again, I'll share one of the things that I feel really called this year to write. I don't know if it's a book, if it's a journal, if it's a workbook. I'm not sure, but I feel really called to write. So focusing on the why versus the how also helps me to answer that question. Don't know how I'm going to do it, but I know I'm being called to write and to share in words. No pun intended, since we're talking about words. And then what gifts are you ready to share? What are you sharing now that you want to share more of? And then what can you use less of in your life? And then what can you use more of in your life? So hopefully that's helped you kind of narrow down what you want your word to be, or if you have a word, to really help you define it. Because one of the things that I love to do with the word is to journal on it for a little bit. I'm going to talk now just about how you get this word out there. So right here you are, you've heard this before, you create a word. Now what? Right? And what are you doing with that word? And so there's so many options, and the vision board is one of the tools for getting your word out there. And that's what we're going to do today, right? But there are other ways. So one of the things I do, and I'm not ashamed to admit it, I've been doing this for years. In my phone every morning, I have a reminder, and it tells me something. So it's usually something related to my word. Last year my word was rise. And so I always wrote in my thing about rising and shining, right? So that's what it started in the morning. Just help me remember my word. And then the other, maybe like release the fear, love yourself anyway, I am enough, whatever it is, right? So I write it into my phone. So, this year, that intentional action to live on purpose. Okay. The other thing that I do, because I love, I collect coffee mugs. So I take my word on a coffee mug for the year. And sometimes I put like cool pictures on it on one side and then the word on the other. You can do this on like Shutterfly. You could do this even I think in Walgreens these days. The other thing is to, in front of your journal, in the front side, just have your word written there. There's a bunch of ways that you can do it. Keep it in your wallet, put it on your home screen, so on and so forth. Any questions about the word before I move on to anything else?
I like that you have the word inspired music playlist. Neat.
Yeah, that's a really fun one too. It's one of my favorite things to do because you could do it both ways. So it's either super inspirational and feeling based, or it's just really fun and it gets you inspired to take whatever that word is. Yeah, those are really fun. If anyone creates one, we should share those later.
And it's not necessary for the word to make sense to everyone, as long as it makes sense to you, right? Like, we shouldn't focus our attention on whether or not.
1,000%.
Okay.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, the word is for you. The word needs to make sense for you 1,000%. And what I would even suggest doing with that is sometimes journaling about that word. Like, why am I picking this word? What does that word mean to me? And how am I going to implement that word into my life? So as I mentioned before, today's really about the permission to dream. So when you make a vision board, there's a couple of exercises that I like people to think about first. But you think about, like, the wheel of life, the circle of your life, and all these different areas and avenues. But I want you to do this again, giving yourself permission to dream, because a lot of the times we can only envision a future based upon our past experiences. And so what we end up doing is we water down this vision board, we water down this dream board because of what we know, right? So if you've only made $50,000 a year, it's going to feel really weird to put $300,000 on your vision board, but it's possible. If you've lived your life, let's say, with bloating and not feeling healthy in your gut, it's gonna feel strange to say that you have a flat belly and great digestive health on your vision board, but it's possible. If you've never left your hometown, but you want a villa in Bali, it's going to feel weird to put it on your vision board, but it's possible. So today is about future possibilities. It's not about what you know. It's not about where you are. So you can do it like this. You can think of the physical, the mental, the spiritual, the financial, things that you want. That's one way to create the vision board. The other way that I like as well is sort of like this life map. You know, here are all these pieces, and you don't have to use the same one I'm showing you here. You can fill in your own circles, but you have your health, your exercise, your healthy eating, your hobbies, your reading, things that are fun to you, right? Your family, quality time. Then you have, you know, your rest, your prayer, your spirituality. Then you have your work, right? Then you have money, your goals, right? And that's important to have on your vision board, okay? And then, you know, things like I started with your home, but your hospitality, your meal planning. And I like to even think of, when I think of home, like your home is in your body, right? So this is your deepest connection. This is your longest relationship. So you need to feel all of these things in your physical body as well. And that should go on your vision board. So there's one more exercise that I'll share. Oh, that's interesting. It cut it off, but okay, that's fine. So it's a be, do, and have. And I like this one too. Same concept. I'm kind of repeating things at this moment, just so you can look at it from different perspectives. So who or what do you want to be? What do you want to do? And what do you want to have? So the who or what you want to be, again, it goes back to that feeling, that purpose, that mission, how you show up in your life, how you show up for other people. What are your strongest traits? How do you want to parent? How do you want to be a friend? How do you want to be a partner? And these are I am statements. This is not I will do. This is I am. And in any vision board, in any creation, in any future planning, it's about the possibility of where you can see yourself, no matter if you don't know how you're going to get there, but you know your why and you know your desire. That's where we create from. And then what do you want to do, right? So do you want to start a business? Like I just said, I want to write. I don't know how I want to write, but that's on my do. I want to write. Do you want to offer a new program in your business? Do you want to get to NMD? I mean, do you want to travel somewhere this year? I know that's strange time to say that, but you know, what is it you want to do, right? And then do you have, it got cut off, but you know, that's not just materialistic things. Do you have inner peace? Do you have confidence? Do you live in a body you love, right? And sure, what do you want to have? Maybe you want to buy a boat. That's okay too, right? It's not greedy to want things, especially when you move, you know, in this intentional way of serving that we talk about so much in this Juice Plus community. So before I go on and I show you any examples of things that of vision boards and different ways to do it, can I open it to questions or comments, aha moments, anything?
This is so good, Loni.
Oh, good, I'm glad.
An aha moment for me is definitely like just focusing on the future possibilities. We get so sidetracked on what do I currently have? Is it even possible? But when you give yourself, like you said, permission to dream and know that the future holds all these possibilities, that's when your brain opens up to limitless potential and opportunities and desires. So allowing ourselves to just focus that there are future possibilities, I think was a great aha moment.
I love that. So I'm going to show you a couple of examples. And again, when we do this, there's no right or wrong way. I didn't even notice until I was putting this together. I did another vision board party and I was putting my examples on there from years past. And it's so interesting that how different they are and how I created it. So I'll show you in a second. But here are some examples. So the 2017, I always write the year, so I remember. The 2017, you know, it's kind of a mix between some pictures and that door was, I wanted to open up new doors in my life. So it was a little bit more abstract, but guess who got a new home that year? You know, I didn't even mean that on my vision board, but yet here I am putting a front door to this beautiful home, and that happened. So last year, 2020, as you can see, I used a lot of words in my vision board. And that's great. So you can use images, you can use words, you can use souvenirs, you can use quotes, you can use sayings, you can use really abstract pictures that don't, you know, necessarily know what they mean to you yet. That really just speak to your soul. And I'm going to address that question. I saw that. Hold on one second. Was that Melissa? Yeah. So Melissa, you can do that. I don't think there's right or wrong or rules in a vision board. You speak from your soul and you create from that place, from your heart more than your head. So if I put a limitation on you, like don't overlap because then it's not going to come true, I think that hinders how you create. But if that's how, you know, you were taught to do it and you feel better separating them, I can see that as well. You'll see one where I didn't overlap them. I personally layer them. I love the layers. So I always create, like you'll see on the left-hand side specifically, I put wallpaper, what I call it, down. These visions that speak to me. Here, I'll show you this year's a little bit more. So I haven't put my words on it yet, but this is this year's. And I didn't even mean to, but it's much more picture forward than it is about my words. So it's less literal, right? So on this one, on the left-hand side where I have those lights and the butterflies, I mean, to me, right? So it's about this new idea. It's about this creation of finding, you know, ideas, like, and putting together a new program. That's really what I want to do in my business. And the butterflies, to me, butterflies are much more about spiritual rebirth. They're about transformation. They're about a deep connection to your soul. So I don't have those words on there. I don't have a deep connection to soul, but I have a picture. Same thing like with the owls, and owls are a reoccurring site. And so I really, especially this year for me, I want to go in, and that's the arrow too. So with the arrow, you have to go within, pull back that arrow. So I'm pulling back that arrow. I'm going within for deep connection to my inner wisdom and self this year before I could release and let go. That little picture there with the, I don't know, she looks like a fairy, I guess, or a princess with the yellow in her stomach. That is a connection to self. That is a connection to core. That is my idea, to unleash your core, to unleash who you are at the center of your being before you do anything. Connect to that place. And that's a lot of what I teach in my Pilates classes, you know, and then how you move throughout the day. But again, I didn't write it in words. I wrote it in a visual. I mean, the cat is kind of literal because I do want a cat, but you know, some of them aren't as literal. My start of my vision board this year, my regular vision board. And then Alicia, like what we were talking about earlier before we started. So I just did a Juice Plus one on Pinterest. It wasn't Pinterest. It was like a picture collage app. I don't even know what it was. But I'm going to print this out and I'm going to put words probably over it or stuff next to it. Right. So this is sort of what Melissa was saying, where they're not together, they're separate. I like the layers. I like knowing that if something like I have butterflies on my page and those butterflies create some feeling from me, in me, about that deep connection to my soul. And then I put something in a word over it that takes that feeling to the next level, is how I like to create my vision board. So that's totally your call. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and then, oh, one more slide. You are what you manifest, right? So this is all about that manifestation and what you're going to put out there and those future possibilities.
Loni, do you mind going back to the?
So I'm stopping to share. Yes.
Can you hear me? Do you mind going back to the very first slide? Also, you're a little laggy, so you might want to turn off your video just because of that. But can you go back to the first slide, because we did not go live with the first slide. It went to my wall. So if you could just kind of review that again. Plus, I thought it was so good. It would be good to just review that for a second, if you don't mind. Okay, she might be having some problems. Okay, so
Looks like she's frozen.
did anybody get notes from the first slide? Maybe you could just help us with that. Okay.
Was it the section with the questions?
Yeah.
A year from now, what will you be most excited to accomplish?
Okay.
Question 2 is, what do you want to feel in 2021? Question 3 is, what are you being called to do? 4 is, what gifts are you ready to share? And 5, what can you use less of or more of in your life?
Is Loni back? There you are. Hi. All right, great. So go ahead, Loni. I'm sorry. I just, I know that that part wasn't in Team Transformers Live, so go ahead.
You're muted.
You're muted. Oh, do I need to unmute you?
No, I got it. I got it. So which slide did you want to see? I'm sorry, I missed that part.
Just the first one by Alicia just gave it to us.
Okay, you still want to see it? You want me to put it up?
Sure.
Okay.
Easy.
Tell me when. This one here?
That one.
Okay.
Great.
When anyone was writing this, did your word change?
For me, it confirmed my word.
Awesome.
This was very helpful. Thank you so much.
Yeah, my pleasure.
I was wondering that, like, what happens if you decide that your word doesn't fit?
I mean, honestly, Nicole, what I usually have, like, in the beginning of the year, 3 words, and they're kind of very similar. They feel something to me that has the same, like, I guess, destination, if you will. And I sit with those words for like a good few, like I just pick my words. What are we on the 18th or 19th? So yeah, I mean, look, your word is yours. So, you know, there's no judgment around it if you need to change it or it doesn't feel right anymore. And that's why I like doing this big macro vision board at the beginning of the year, but then each quarter, or some people can do it each month in the beginning of their journal or planner, maybe you create a different word. So sometimes with my word, let's say my word is purpose, right? So I use purpose as can I stop sharing my screen? You guys good?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I create, here, like I'll do it like this. You get the idea. It's really, really messy. So purpose is the big word, the umbrella word. And then each month gets a smaller word. I shouldn't call it smaller, but a word that fits under the umbrella of purpose that gives me a vision for the month. So Nicole, you can have 12 words if you want. I mean, no one's telling, you know, it's your goals. It's your, you know, it's your manifestation, right? So if I want to take action one month, if I want to move with intention another month, if I want to, and so then I place my thoughts and how I'm moving forward based upon that umbrella. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I like that. I think I'm gonna have a lot of words.
Yeah, it's fun. It's, you know, it's fair. It's totally fair. And the main word, that umbrella word, is what gets you to the destination, what that big vision is that you're creating now. And then there's sort of micro, you know, months that you're creating these smaller things that still co-create that big vision.
I like when you said we might be stuck, not stuck, but whatever you want to call it, in our usual mindset, in our usual thinking. But you said dream bigger, you know, don't let ourselves limit to our past experiences or our current, so that we dream bigger. I like that.
Yeah, awesome. I think the thing is now is to get out your scissors and your glue sticks and your papers. And if you don't have any of that, that's fine. If you have a printer and you want to start printing, but now that you have this in your mindset, I would love to switch it to your heart and for you just to take out things that you're starting to feel. And then you could do what I do. So again, I like to sit with this stuff for a while. So this is cutouts that I did the other day that are still here that I'm not sure what I'm doing with them yet or if I'm using them at all. But they speak to me in some way, and I don't know. Now I'll go back and revisit it, and that's funny, and see what's possible. So, you know, I love to come back and relook at some of those things. I mean, like, so funny, last year on my vision board, I had a word, and I didn't even remember that I put the word on my vision board, but I got the word tattooed on me. And then I was looking at my vision board a few days ago because I was planning for another vision board party, and I was like, oh, well, I guess I really manifested that. You know, like, it's a beautiful word. It means like joy within, like a deep joy that you find within yourself always. So that's why it was on my vision board. But anyway, now it's on my foot. So just funny. Sometimes you put things on there and you don't realize how they're going to show up in your life. So I would love to keep seeing people's vision boards if they have them already. If anyone wants to talk about their word, let's just kind of open this up to an open forum and have conversation about this manifestation and co-creation.
Loni, the board or the slide with the bubbles really activated my brain. Like, what I did was, hold on, Emma. I wrote my name and then my word. And like you said, like, then there's subcategories. So this exercise was very helpful for me because now when I look for pictures, like whether it be a magazine or online, I'm going to be very intentional to find what suits all those areas of my life. And I love the quarterly board thing too. I think that's fantastic because we have like a grand year, and then you want to hone in and focus to be very intentional about everything you want to do in those subcategories. So thank you. That was
awesome.
That was an awesome
Totally.
exercise.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah, I was gonna.
Anyone else?
Yeah, I was gonna say I like the quarterly thing too because with my vision board, I want to make it so grand that it's like, okay, that's a lot to accomplish. But if I can double back every month or every quarter, and refocus another smaller vision board, that'll make that big vision seem, not so big.
Yeah, absolutely. Or and there's another way to do it. I like it that way too, Denzel. But the other way I've seen people do it is where they do it specific. Like you have, when I work a lot with women trying to get pregnant, we create a fertility board. We create a pregnancy board very specifically towards that, right? Like you could create a Juice Plus board specific towards your business. Although I know that, being in this industry, it's hard to, you know, juice plus specific is kind of you at the same time. So, you know, but you know, you could get really specific on what you do. If I wanted to just do a Pilates board, you know, or an exercise board, so you could do it like that as well.
Can I have too much? Is there a way to have too much going on?
I mean, I don't think there's a way of having too much, as long as there's no judgment if some of those things don't happen, right? So it's so putting it out there to the universe, I think too much is not, like, I think the more you can put out that you want to create and have and be and feel and do and accomplish is beautiful, as long as that it stays in it from a positive place for you.
Yeah,
because if you don't put it out there, it can't happen, right? So you want to put it out there anyway.
Uh-huh. Okay. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, of course. I'd love to see some of your sketches sometimes.
Gotcha.
Sharon, you said you did one this morning. You want to share it?
I was trying to clean it up because I love all your questions, and I hadn't done a feeling word. My feeling word for this year is definitely peace. That's the goal, you know, and that's hard sometimes to just have peace, you know, especially when there's so many people at the house and different things like that. You know, you just want to foster peace. And then there were a couple other things, like when you said dream bigger, like I'm putting like places I want to go that are pretty much in the United States. So those are the first things that popped in my mind. But when you said dream bigger, I mean, I want to go back to Venice. So I haven't put that on the board, but that was helpful. And then I love reading. And somehow I think you posted some pictures of books. And I mean, that makes me so happy. And also I feel at peace when I'm reading, especially on the beach, whatever. So anyway, but today I knew that I hadn't clipped anything or whatever. And like Alicia, when she first got on here, I'm like, how am I going to do this and like kind of get up to snuff? So I decided to use Google and, you know, just start. And it was just very quick, but just start gathering pictures of things I love or want to do or want to. And then I put it on PowerPoint. So I'm going to show you what I did. And, you know, you just put in like to Google, like I was just doing, peace image, you know, and you pick one that you want and you put it into your PowerPoint. So over here is my PowerPoint. And I just have one slide. But in the past, I've done it on like the cork board, the one from Michael's. I don't know what it's called. It's not a cork board, but it's like a thick board. Probably Alicia knows what that's called, right? So here are, I mean, every time Doug says, every time we see Judge Judy, we want to go back to New York. I mean, anytime I see a picture of New York, I want to go. So that's like major priority. And then Emma wants to go back to Utah. And so this is where we stayed in Utah. And so that's a major priority also. And places I want to go. I mean, I want to go on trips like all day long. So anytime I can go somewhere, it's the best. I loved going to New Smyrna Beach. I'd love to have a condo on the beach. I used to live with somebody who had a condo on the beach. It was the best. This girl, I like her because it reminds me, I like to get out. And again, it's peaceful for me to put my AirPods in and go play racquetball by myself, even, and just practice, or go for a walk or a run with my AirPods. Like, it makes me happy. So that's a good reminder. Plus I'm running a little bit. And then I love that Matthew, we just went on a trip and he's like, yeah, I think I've done enough today. And then he's like happy with his day. And that's kind of how I am. It's like, okay, if I had fun, if I was productive, if I did this or that. So it's kind of what I'm about too, is just making the most of every day. I realize I'm super flawed, but I'm also very happy with myself. So I'm flawed and fabulous. My word is abide. So the more I look to God, the more at peace I'm going to be also. And you know, we're learning so much about our thoughts and how those thoughts really affect our energy, which then affect everything else. So thoughts are big time. And so there's a couple things about thoughts, a couple things about parenting for sure. That's a huge focus for us right now. Emma's now homeschooling, and parenting a teenage girl is totally different than a boy. So we're learning a lot, and so really always trying to better myself in that way, and being the best parent ever that I can be. Going on an Alaskan cruise, which I've been waiting, I think, since 1993 to do. So, that's top priority, but obviously not the most priority lately. And then I saw this 100 Club in 15 months. I mean, why not? That was on the images on, when I went to Google. I'm like, 100 Club, NMD, whatever, and that's what popped up. So I'm like, all right, 15 months, that sounds good. And then I know I need to systemize more of my business in order to do that. Then, I mean, I love food, but I don't like cooking. So if I can get people to cook for me, that's the best. So that's on the dream board. And then date nights. That's always been on my dream board too. That's important. That's it.
That's awesome, Sharon. Can I point out one thing about your board that I think, I'm not sure if I mentioned, that's really important. You were really specific, like that 100 club in 15 months.
Mhm.
That's really specific, right? So sometimes a lot of people say like, grow my business, right? But that's not that specific kind of a goal. Like if you look at my vision board, I haven't done this yet, right? So there's 100 on there. Here, can you come back to,
Oh, sorry. Mhm.
It's okay. So if you come back here, there's two things I didn't mention. So if you come back here, you see that I wrote 100 so far. I haven't finished it yet. I don't want to make $100 this year. I want to make $100,000 this year. So if I don't get that nice little K next to it or specify this, I'm putting out not full information to the universe, right? So you want to get really specific. And this is, I said I wanted to write, right? So I always find that the thing that makes you most nervous, the thing that gets you so excited, but you're really not sure how you're going to do it, you put at the middle of your vision board. So that's the first thing you see. So I just want to say that just to also, although some of this is very abstract, like this is a very abstract, this is very feelings based. I love how this feels to me. But when you have certain words or numbers, you want to be specific of where you want that to show up in your life. Okay. If you want a new red car, you don't want to just write car. You want to put a picture of the car you want, just that as an example.
Okay, great. Who else has one from the past or one that you're working on?
I'm drawing in my sketchbook now, but I don't have my other one on me. But actually, this year I had so much come true that I was writing. I would just journal every night. It wasn't not necessarily a vision board, but it's literally just writing out, like what Lori, your name?
Loni. Oh, you're muted. Denzel, you're muted.
My bad. It was amazing. Was coming true within my, my sketches, like stuff I would actually draw. I would actually be sitting like within the lobby of somewhere I'm waiting to take a next step in my life. I'm like, oh, yo, this is like exactly what I was talking about. But yeah, I'm just providing context to what you're saying.
Awesome. I love it.
I would like to share very quickly what I did last year. I think it's very useful to see it, at least it's to me, and I'm gonna do it the same way. So instead of doing it on a board, which it always ends up being either behind my closet or behind my desk because it falls, she suggested to do it on my notebook or whatever I use every day for my business. So this is the notebook I used to do everything last year. And so I did my first 6 months on one page and then my other 6 months on the other page based on my vision. And looking at it now, I did not accomplish everything, and yet I can tell you that I am closer, a step closer to all these things. For instance, being in a mission, I was so quick to say yes, and over the years I have understood what to live in a mission is. It's like swimming against the river like a salmon, no? And that's something that I practice every day, thank God, to this business, being purpose driven, having a purpose driven life. So like she said, that's in the middle, and I didn't know that. Thank you, Lani.
Yeah.
God's willing, I'm getting married next week. We moved. I did a grateful thing where every day I would write down something positive, or any event that it was like big and emotional, positive. I wrote it down here and I haven't read them. These are all from last year. I want to put kids, my kids need bracers, but I don't want that to be a debt. So I would like to have the cash to pay that. One-on-one meetings with I've been practicing thanks to this business. You know, Six Club, didn't achieve that and move up on the compensation plan. And then on the other side, again, moved, which I guess it was a big deal for me last year. The, oh, I'm so sorry. Professional speaker, which I've been practicing a lot lately, travel, then, you know, the spiritual stuff. So a lot of repetitive things, but they did manifest it.
That's awesome, Nicole. I love that. I love putting it on something that you use on a daily basis, because you bring me to my next point, which is you can't make a vision board and then stick it in a drawer. You have to put it somewhere you can see it. Okay. So what I also recommend doing is, those of us that don't use, let's say, journals, or, you know, we don't paper anymore and we're always on our computer, take a picture of your vision board and save it as your screensaver. So definitely having it somewhere that you see it all the time. So Nicole sharing hers on the inside of her, you know, of her planner is perfect. And then you literally, like, subconsciously, you're seeing that on a daily basis. Awesome. I love that. Thank you for sharing.
So I have some old vision boards I created over the years, and I love all the tips you gave, Lonnie, so that I can implement those in the new one I'm going to create. Because now you've given me a lot more like to focus on when creating these. So back then I have 3 pretty haphazard, but it's amazing to see when you put it out, you put things out there, how they come to life, honestly. A lot of things on this board did come true. Not everything, but quite a bit. And it was just like, almost like what Nicole said, it was almost tucked away somewhere. I know I used to have it in front of me at one point, and then halfway through the year, I think it ended up being behind something. But then when I looked at it, like at the end of the year, I was like amazed by how much of it came to fruition. So really haphazard. These are the whiteboards we used to use at Sharon.
Michelle, name a couple of things that came true for you on your boards.
So, like, funny enough, we moved and the kitchen was like the best part of the house, honestly. So this says win an ultimate home makeover. I had this kitchen and that kind of came true on its own. Success, money, happiness. I feel like I have all 3 of those things. But I found the joy. Date night, we got back to doing date night. I ended up getting a new car. When was this? Oh, this was 2015. In 2019, I got a new car. How to live a more joyful life. And let me see. Maui hasn't come true yet, but that's my goal, to go back to Maui with my kids.
That needs to be
The
huge.
ultimate trip. Yeah.
That's the one that made you cry one day at our vision board party.
Oh, look at this. 2017, I put Q&D. Well, I made it this last year. Once again, I had a car on there. I guess I really wanted a new car. I realized. What else? Oh, I want a new bathroom. That hasn't happened yet. Once again, I have another vacation that looks like it could be Hawaii, or I would love to go to Colorado too. But and even giving back more. I have that on a lot of my vision boards. I realized I have giving back, and I've been able to do that more now. So that has felt really good. And then funny, the vacations just are always on my board. And we did end up going on a cruise as a family. What was that? Like 2 years ago, we went on a cruise on a, and that was the first time we did that. And this was on my board back in 2016. So 2 years later, that happened. Let's see. I did get a new blender. It wasn't a Vitamix, but I love it. And just so many little things. It's amazing. So now that Loni has done this to share how to really focus in and be more specific, I'm excited to do my new one for this year, being more specific and seeing what happens,
Awesome. Well, I would love to see some of the vision boards that you guys create after having had this conversation. I always sit with mine for a minute. Like, so I start it and then I feel it. And then I put some more stuff on and then I feel it. And so that's like, mine's still like, this is not done. This is still a work in progress. I mean, I'll make sure I do it probably in the next week or so it doesn't take all year to do my vision board. But, and then it's going to go right up. For me, it's going to go up in my studio because that's where I'm going to see it most often. And I will also take a picture of this as my screensaver. So those are the two places. For my Juice Plus specific one, I made a mug out of it. So my Juice Plus specific one has my word and picture on one side, so the collage picture on one side and my word on the other side, and that's my mug. So you can do however you want, but just have it accessible, see it, don't hide it in a closet. Don't hide it in a drawer. Okay, that's all I got.
Awesome, great job, Loni. We totally
Awesome.
appreciate you.
Yeah, of course, my pleasure. Have fun creating.
Yes, it's so much fun.
It's exciting to be on this journey with everyone and get to see, like, especially from the start to the finish now, and get to see where everyone's starting at the beginning of the year, and how we should have at the end of 2021 a vision board ending party and see what we wrote for the beginning of the year and how it's come through at the end of the year.
Nice.
That would be fun, and hopefully in person. Hopefully in person.
Try to post yours in Team Transformers. That would be awesome.
Okay.
Okay.
Will do.
Loni, everybody tell her.
Bye, guys. Have a great day.
Loni, thank you so much. This was so helpful. I appreciate you doing this.
Of course. My pleasure.
Thank you.
Bye, guys. Have a good one.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody. Have a good one. Thank you.
Bye.
People have been watching on live stream too, Loni, and they're loving it. Hello to the live streamer.
Hmm.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, guys.